What's going on, everyone? This is Will from the Hybrid Network with my review for Ghostbusters 2016, or as I like to call it, Ghostbusters Answer the Call, because that's the tagline we've been seeing everywhere. Anyways, let's get right to it. The film acts as a reboot of the classic lightning in a bottle comedy from 1984, Ghostbusters. The Paul Feig female-led comedy may actually surprise you with its SNL veteran cast containing Kristen Wiig as Erin Gilbert, Kate McKinnon as Jillian Holtzman, Leslie Jones as Patty Tolan, and Melissa McCarthy as Abby Yates. So a lot of you are probably wondering right now, did it suck? How bad was it? Did the movie disappoint as much as the trailers did? Well, before I get to some thoughts, I'll speed right through the plot. Couple, slight spoiler warning in case you just were dying to see the film. So, to sum it up, disgraced Professor Erin Gilbert gets a blast from the past when her old former colleague Abby Yates is going around informing the world of a book they wrote to prove the existence of the paranormal. They team up to investigate it with Jillian Holtzman, a kind of eccentric person working in Abby Yates' lab, and they discover more and more activity from ghosts is coming up in the city of New York, and they actually find the culprit behind it, a man named Rowan. So, after meeting up with Patty Tolan, a worker from the New York subways who is the quote-unquote street-savvy one, they have to stop the villain Rowan from breaking the barrier between the human and ghost world and causing mass hysteria. So yeah. What works for the film is that all of the characters are actually pretty unique individuals. They aren't just retreads or supplements for the original Ghostbusters from before. They all have pretty interesting personalities and a couple quirks that they all have their moments where you do kind of at least get a little chuckle out of something that they do or say. The actors do pretty well for the most part in performing and acting their characters. I rarely was seeing them as the actors themselves. I would usually refer to them by their character's name, which I think that's a pretty good job, that I can just see them as the role for what they are. And each character does kind of have their own raison d'etre for ghost hunting in the first place. So at the end of it all, our four leading ladies do have a pretty good dynamic and interaction with one another. The look of the ghost is pretty different than it has been in before. I hear they used a lot of actual people for the vast majority and then added effects later on to get that more uncanny valley look to it. Sadly, this can also work as a negative because it'll stifle some of the creativity and variety that we have for, ghost options. And the trailers did kind of spoil a couple of the main ghosts that you're going to see through the film. The action here is fair. The effects mostly aren't that bad. And we'll get back to that. The casting for it was surprisingly above average. They had some pretty good actors and actresses in this movie, the leads aside. And the comedy has some pretty moments when, in my opinion, it's pretty damn funny. Chris Hemsworth character, for many people, actually stole the show. I thought he was pretty funny, but there are moments when he seemed just a little too dim a bulb in the pack. For me, one of the funniest scenes was Kristen Wiig dancing to DMX. I just generally thought it was hilarious. Now, onto what didn't work for this film. Rather than the whole concept of it being a full-on reboot, it takes way too many notes from the original. It's fine to pay homage with a couple lines or quips, but it tries way too much to plead the original fan crowd that didn't dismiss the film, as well as trying to say fuck you to the critics of the trailer and concept of the all-female team in the first place. Now, I personally have no problem with all-female Ghostbusters. I think it was a pretty interesting addition, as long as they got funny women to play the roles, which they did. But there are just times when, there's a way to do an homage, there's a way to do a reference, there's a way to include old cast members, but some things were just wasted or overused, and it didn't really work to the film's advantage. I also think the actresses for Patty and Holtzman, who were mentioned earlier, Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon earlier, I think they should have actually been switched so we can see Leslie Jones kind of play against the yelling black woman stereotype that she's so known for in SNL. That would have been a likable change. The villain here has a kind of interesting motivation, but when it comes to him actually fighting the Ghostbusters, that's something they actually should have taken a note from the original. And maybe, padded it more, given a little bit more length and activity to it. And going back to how I said the effects were mostly good, well, to keep it brief, let's just say Sony has some areas that they need to clean up some of their green screen and CGI. And there's a scene right near the end where I swore they ripped it straight out of Danny Phantom, even if it was intentional or not. So take that as you will. I went to this film expecting to be highly disappointed and kind of holding on to a slim thread of optimism that it could be great. And over time it started to deteriorate and just reached the point where even going into the theater with the other 6 people that were there, that was actually pretty funny. The term soulless unironically kept swirling around in my head, but to my surprise there were some generally enjoyable and downright funny moments. However, going forward with this franchise, Sony, I may just highly recommend, I just ask, please don't twist the arms of your actors and producers to get your way. If you focus on making a good product, a good script, with the good cast that you have in the first place, the money will just pour right in. So, can I recommend to you all Ghostbusters Answer the Call? If you can find it for cheap, like a decent matinee, maybe $5 to $7, I'd say give it a watch. Grab some friends, get some drinks, and, have a few good chuckles. It isn't that bad, and honestly, it may be worth a rental in a few months. If you can find it in a bargain bin sometime in 2017, hey, take it home with you. It's not a horrible movie. If I had to rank it, I'd give it a mid-B to upper C range. It'll make you laugh, but, if you're a diehard Ghostbusters fan, you may not be the biggest fan of it just because everything it tries to take from the original, it may not perform as well. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Hybrid Network. I'm Will, and I ain't afraid of no reboots. Also, side note, looks like Bill Murray finally got his wish for what he wanted to happen for Ghostbusters 3. Anyways, later.